Have you ever wondered what a real relationship is like? A real healthy, consistent relationship? Then you should watch this video. I'm going to be talking about all the pros and cons and the struggles of a relationship and if you can even stand to be in one. Are you ready to handle a relationship? Maybe that's why you clicked on this video. You want to see if you are able to handle it, and I will show you all of the tips and tricks to have a fulfilling one. And stay tuned, keep on watching. I struggle with my part of a relationship. I've definitely had a lot of struggles in terms of not trusting someone and being not as communicative as needed to be. I was very communicative, actually. However, I would not communicate healthily. I would be screaming and yelling at people that I've dated, and it just caused so much pressure onto the relationship, onto the person, and they just didn't know how to handle it, and they just ended up leaving. And I've gotten to a point where I'm just used to people leaving in terms of if it's not the right fit, then you should leave the relationship. If there's no other reason, then it really does suck when someone does leave you. You first definitely have to figure out, what your struggle points are in dating and in a relationship. Is it the way you communicate to your partner? Do you sometimes need a lot of space and don't want to talk to anyone, even though they're your partner? You can communicate all of these things and have such a healthy relationship with someone. And I wanted to go through some of the bullet points that I wrote down is that a healthy relationship has, open and honest communication, mutual respect and support. The trust is there, the values are there. It's not all surface level. If you guys look good together, if they're both hot, it goes so deep than just surface level. The emotions that you create with someone goes way beyond just the physical aspect. I definitely struggle with having the healthiest relationship with people sometimes. I get anxious and I don't trust them. I feel like sometimes they're off doing something else and I don't necessarily understand why they need space from me because I'm their partner. But sometimes, there's a difference between introverts and extroverts. Myself is an extrovert. I don't understand people taking space from me or taking space in general from people because I get my energy from people. It's just very difficult to understand that. But that's the thing I'm trying to work on by myself is that understanding is part of a healthy relationship. Understanding where they're coming from, what they need, what makes them fulfilled. I have so many things that fulfill me. I just wrote down a list with 22 things that fulfill me. And sometimes I just forget that list. And I actually wrote it down and stuck it onto my monitor just so I know that I can turn to these things and fulfill myself for the full day. There's so much to do. Like some of the things I wrote down was just like have a face mask and journal with a candle lit. That itself will take 20 minutes of my day. Bake a new recipe. Sometimes I want to do bake. That will also take another 20 minutes. Like start a new game. I don't really game as much, but that's just one of my things. But it's all about fulfilling yourself in the bigger picture. Both sides fit themselves, and allow your partner to have their own space, and that also just shows that you love them. But you also need to have healthy communication when that happens. If they go away for no apparent reason, they start becoming cold and distant, only replying a few times a day, that is not, if you are not happy with it, then you need to bring it up to them. You need to say, hey, I feel like your communication is choppy. I feel very disconnected with you. Like, remember, or remember to be able to tell them that. You can advocate for yourself in a healthy manner. After you say all of those things, you can say, maybe we could plan something for this later in this week to meet and go on a date. once that is set up, then you can just kind of leave it. Do your own thing until you guys meet. I forget all of these skills that I've learned, and I really need to teach myself all these things because it's really doing disservice to my partner if I don't do this myself, right? I've had a lot of failed dating experiences, a lot of failed relationships that just never worked out because of my anxiety and my self-worth that I just didn't think I had. If you are in a place where you are in a low self-worth, you need to change your mindset into loving yourself. It took me a whole year to remember that I am me. Remind yourself that you are you. You love spending time with yourself more than anyone else in the world. You need to value yourself so badly that no matter who leaves you, you will be so happy that you have yourself. And it comes from, and it brings back, the fulfillment list, right? You have to find things that fulfill you outside of your partner. Sometimes I forget that when I'm so infatuated and attracted to someone, I just completely forget what fulfills me. And one of them is just take yourself on a date. I loved going to cafes alone and having a little pastry with my little coffee in the day, and that would make my day. It would be the best day ever, and then I would get groceries. I sometimes forget to do any of that because I'm so anxious and so involved into this relationship because that is my number one priority when I end up liking someone. And sometimes it's okay to forget. Just remember that you have to kind of pick up the pace and ground yourself. Remind yourself that your partner has their own life and you have yours, and you guys come together to become one. You are two full people that are coming together, and that is what a healthy relationship is all about. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about struggles in a relationship. Most of these things are because, some people might have bad past experiences with dating, and it could be, poor and inconsistent communication. I remember having a time where I had a guy I dated who would talk to me for hours on end for the first maybe few weeks, two weeks. And, life catches up to you, and that's not sustainable. So it really does slow down. And at that moment of time, I honestly got so anxious and thought that he was losing interest in me. But it's because life just catches up, and their true self kind of comes out in a way. He presented himself as like very pretty extroverted. Now that life has settled down, he's actually truly an introvert and really likes his time alone. He didn't completely ignore me. It was just a little bit less of a conversation throughout the days. And you really need to communicate what your needs are and what you're okay with. Sometimes you're not okay with the breadcrumbing. You're not okay with a few responses in the day. You want something more meaningful. And that's always okay to want something more meaningful. There's always a way to communicate, even though the consistency isn't there. Once you start stating what you need towards your partner, you have to evaluate how they react to it. And if they react badly to it, then you need to cut them off. If they react well to it and they start giving you more attention, planning dates, then you can continue with him. Then you can continue with them. All in all of these relationship advices that I talk about, they're so surface level. It doesn't even go into like the deep emotional connection that you do build with a partner. And that just takes so much time. Once you find your person, No matter how much time you guys have apart, you will come back and then just start like normal. Sometimes the anxiety can get you, but once you realize that you have so many other things that fulfill you, you can just come back. Come back to the things that fulfill you. And then that is how you can handle a healthy relationship. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'm manifesting the best for you guys. Happy full moon and Mercury. Happy full moon and Mercury retrograde if you are watching this around this time. Bye.